Well, we were talking to Grant Holmes earlier today, and he's very optimistic about how things have gone. How, what has he told you, and what do you expect here over the next
Yeah,
week?
you know what? All the reports all winter on him have been great. And that hasn't changed since he got down here. Saw him throw a bullpen yesterday. Looked good. So, yeah, I mean, he opted not to have the surgery on that thing, and it's gone really well so far.
We were talking with Schwallenbach, and he kind of told us that he's going to most likely need a little bit of arthroscopic surgery. Is that kind of surprising to you? Or?
No, his situation's been kind of fluid. We've been kind of learning things as we go here, and so it's not surprising. And it's not necessarily a real invasive procedure at this point. No, who knows what lies ahead, but. We're little steps at a time here, and I know he's got some spurs there. They're gonna go in there and look at and try to clean up, and hopefully that'll solve a lot of his issues.
Just doing a ChatGPT search and trying to figure out what the recovery time is. Seems like the timetable could be similar to what you already said, maybe 2 months or so. I know you didn't put a definitive one.
Yeah.
But pitching by June is a possibility.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways this thing can go, and we're in the early stages. It's tough to predict, and that's the way it is with a lot of these injuries, and it's a little complicated, the injuries dealing with. So, yeah, I mean that'd be great, but yeah, I'm not gonna live by that right now. We'll see what happens.
But hopeful he comes back this season at least.
Oh yeah, I mean I hope so, of course. But again, I think we're learning some things on the fly here with what he's dealing with. So yeah, it'd be great if we had him this year. I mean, and we how it is, we hope for the best and put it in the doctor's hands. We got some real good ones looking at him, and we'll see what happens.
I know we talked about a little bit yesterday, but and replacing him kind of and trying to figure out what's the best strategy, I guess, in your eyes to kind of build it up and find a place to fill that spot.
Well, there'll be plenty of candidates, in camp. Like I said, these things they're awful when you hear them, but there's always an opportunity created, for somebody. And we have, 1,000,001 examples of guys that may or may not have been on the radar, when camp started, and all of a sudden, they're in the mix or they're part of your core. We just don't know what leads to what. So, hopefully we'll find maybe there's a diamond in the rough out there, and running around on the field.
On a similar note to that, how valuable were those last couple of months for Walder last year?
Yeah, I tell you what, he was dominant at times. The split finger is a really dominant pitch for him, and so it's a good fastball. The fastball command is probably the next step for him, but when we got swing and miss stuff like he has with that split finger especially, and he's learned how to pitch a little bit at the big league level. Added some things to the mix, and so he's an interesting one. I mean, he's got wipeout stuff at times, so he's really interesting.
You feel like the confidence is there with him, like he carries himself, like he knows.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's a confident kid, a very respectful kid, but yeah, when you're good, you usually know it.
You talked just about working your way in. Obviously, with all these injuries and stuff like that, have you found yourself working a little earlier with the evaluation process and trying to figure out who could be?
No, I don't think you can speed that up. I mean, look, truth be told, in this industry, we're all being evaluated at all times. Every time we walk out the door, we're being evaluated. So, and these guys know that. That's the business of this game. But yeah, I think the most important thing is they know themselves and their bodies. I'm talking about the players better than anybody. So they know what they need to get ready. That'll be conversations that I have with our players, and get their perspective on things. We also have a medical team, a strength and performance team that is part of that process. So I don't think you ever try to speed up that evaluation process. You kind of let it happen and just observe.
How nice is it to just see Austin Riley, Matt Olson,
Yeah.
Ronald Acuna out there, kind of bring a different energy and some smiles on their faces
Yeah.
as they get through the week?
No, this is a fun part of camp. You know, when the position players start straggling in, a couple or three at a time, and you see it starting to take shape. You know, it's the team coming together, and everybody. You know, there's a lot of energy at the beginning of camp. You know, in 3 or 4 weeks it'll be a little bit different. You know, you got to get them going a little bit. I've been there, but it's good to see those guys. They look great and they're ready to go.
What are your expectations for Ozzie going into this season? Kind of had an up and down year last year.
Yeah.
We talked to him, said he feels really good, and he's ready to kind of move the mark a little bit.
Yeah, I think mentally, emotionally, Ozzie's in a really good place. You know, he finished the season strong. He had a tough first half, like you know, a handful of our guys really, but it's always nice when you finish strong. You know, you're hoping that to some degree you can carry that over. But look, we got a lot of guys now. They're not old, but they're pretty experienced, and they've got some. They're starting to get some stripes on their shoulder. You know, they've been through some battles, and that helps. You know, and you know when you accumulate some wisdom at a young age like these guys have. I mean, it goes a long way. Usually, you got to be my age before you start figuring some things out. But when you've played as many games and played in as many big games as these guys have at a young age, they've accumulated a lot more wisdom than the average guy.
What do you think you guys have learned from last year, especially with that slow start, especially offensively, that you guys can kind of do this spring to hopefully prevent that this year?
Yeah, I mean, believe me, you know, we felt good breaking camp last year. Nobody planned for that. You know, it's a bit of a meat grinder going out west and playing those two teams and you know, training on the East Coast all spring and then going to the West Coast time zone. I mean, there was a lot of things and no excuses, but we got our butts kicked for a week straight out there. That wasn't part of the plan, but you know, those are good reminders that you got to take care of your business. You know, you let your guard down in this league and you'll get embarrassed. So yeah, we'll be ready to go.
We're under the full off season to kind of build off of coming back last year from the injury. He, after hitting a ball today, he was talking about how he was healthy.
Yeah.
Maybe expectations for him, the excitement level to know that he's back and what he can potentially do for a full season at health.
Yeah, Ronald looks great. I think he's another one. Mentally, emotionally, he's in a really good place. You know, he's missed some time the last few years, and we all know he's a Hall of Fame talent. You know, but you know you gotta do it for a while, and he's certainly capable of doing that. But I think the fact that he feels really healthy, his body feels good. You know, he was running around in winter ball, doing a bunch of things, and I think he's like a bull that's ready for the door to open.
Are there any restrictions on Holmes or Ronaldo here in camp?
No, those guys, as we sit here today, are full steam ahead, and you know, Lopez, like Holmes, you know, all the reports have been good. So yeah, that's a good thing.
When can you expect for us to start to see some live BP?
To what now?
Live BP?
Yeah.
We'll
Oh,
see it.
yeah. Well, that'll start happening here very, very shortly. I think in the next couple days. And our guys, you know, the guys that are here early, they want to get in there, especially the WBC guys. They want to see some live arms, and that's going to happen here. I don't know exactly the schedule. I used to take care of the schedule. Now I don't know the schedule. But that should happen here in the next day or two, as the pitchers start throwing some lives. Yeah, and our guys are all in. I was planning on bringing some guys over that are here early on the minor league side or whatever, but they're like, no, we want the at bat. So, you know, that's good.
Jimenez, we were told in December he wouldn't be ready for the start of the season, but now he's on the 60-day.
Yeah.
Do you expect to see him at some point this year?
I mean, that'd be great. I mean, you talk about feeling bad for this guy's been through it, and it's a really complex injury, you know, and he's had setbacks, and he's doing everything in his power to get back on the field, and still optimistic. But this has been a tough one, you know, for him. And you know, there's nothing else you can do except listen to what the docs say and put your head down and go, and that's what he's doing. Would love for him to be a part of this at some point this year, but you know, sitting here today, I don't know, you know, when he'll be back or what that looks like, but he's doing everything in his power. Yeah.
I don't know what conversation you may have had, but maybe first impressions of Jonah Heim as well as Robert Suarez. What's showing up today?
Yeah, no, it's good. See, like I said, it's good when the guys start getting here, and I think Jonah's going to be a really good fit for us. Like I said yesterday, I love the winning pedigree. You know, the guys that have been there, done that, been counted on a championship team. That goes a long way with me. And Suarez, yeah, of course, I love that he's in camp. You know, when you got a good bullpen, man, all of a sudden you're a good manager. You know, so and the vice versa on the other end. You know, you got a rough bullpen, man, you're really dumb. So excited about having Suarez and the way our bullpen's shaping up.
Saw Strider get a little bit of work today. Just what's your evaluation of him at this point in his career, and how much more growth is there to his game?
Yeah, well, he's always digging in. He's a very cerebral guy. You know, he's in tune with his body, and the ball was coming out really good today. He's in a good place. You know, the thing is, you know, when guys are coming back from stuff, you know, that progression is never linear. You know, there's always peaks and valleys when guys are coming off an injury or whatever it might be. And so that's the toughest part for the athlete is you know, those times where it feels like you're taking a step back physically. But I think a number of our guys, and maybe even Spencer, you know, there's been, you know, times of that, you know, over the past couple months. But as we sit here today, he's in a really good place. So that's exciting because he's a big piece.
I think what do you think the next step is for Bryce? It seems like he'll probably have to have an increased role now with all these injuries.
You know what, Bryce? Bryce, I think is going to be a big help for us. You know, I think I bank on the guy. You know, he's a great competitor. He's been very durable. He finished really strong. I mean, he you know, he had another stretch, I think, in May where he was really good. You know, then he you know, when it went off the rails a little bit for him, you know, it was tough. But fact of the matter is, he regrouped and was one of our best pitchers against some playoff teams down the stretch. And the ball was coming out good. The velo was ticking up. I mean, he's you know, and the kid competes. You know, he's unflappable on the mound. So Bryce brings a lot of value. You know, so yeah, we'll be counting on him.
Well, you've seen a lot of great pitchers over the years. You guys have had a lot of them here in the time you've been here. Is Chris Sale about pretty much as special as it gets?
Yeah, look, in more ways than one. I mean, this guy, he's one of the more impressive big leaguers I've ever been around, quite frankly. I mean, taking everything into consideration, the way he works, the way he competes, the things he's accomplished. He's got zero diva in him. You know, for a guy that's, again, he's a Hall of Famer. The way he treats people, the way he cares about the team. I mean, you couldn't make it up in a lab any better than what Chris Sale brings. He's he's when you take everything into consideration, he's as good as it gets.
Thanks, Walt.
Thanks, Walt.